All right, guys, for this week's video, we're going to kind of a 90-degree angle on you here, guys. We butchered 2 hogs yesterday. Our intention was to film that, but we were short-handed. Only 4 of us there working, and it just wasn't feasible to try to do a detailed video like we wanted to, so we just focused on getting the work done, getting the meat put up. So here we are the day after, and we've got 2 hog bellies here. We're middlings, as we call them, bacon, better known as bacon. And we're going to set these things up for to cure, to make our own bacon. And what Sarge is doing right now, we got these vacuum seal bags. A lot of the videos and stuff I've watched shows people putting these in big Ziploc bags, but I don't want to cut this as no more times than we have to, because once we get to the smoking part, you know, a lot of people will cut the smoked edges off because they get tough and crunchy or whatever. So I feel like the more times we cut it, the more meat we're going to lose. Get back, JD. Get back. Anyway, we're going to cut them in half, and hopefully we can get them to fit in these vacuum seal bags. We're probably not going to actually vacuum seal them. We'll just seal up the ends on each side just to make a container for them. But I don't know, I guess you could seal them a little bit.
Well, I mean,
I don't think you'd want to tighten it down too much.
Yeah, so we can work it around a little bit.
But anyway, we're going to cut these 2 in half. I think we've agreed that we're going to go ahead and cut the skin off of them, because a lot of people say you cut the skin off, a lot of people don't. But my thinking is, and Sarge's thinking is that if you're going to put a cure mixture on this, a lot of it's going to be absorbed in that skin, and it's not going to do your meat any good. Plus, when you get to the smoking process, you're going to smoke the skin and then cut it off, so you lose half of your smoke flavor. That's just our take on it. Unless you're going to eat the skin, some people leave the skin on there. But I think these are thick enough that we can make pretty good slices of bacon without the skin. So regardless of anybody else's opinion, I think we're going to cut the skin off. So we're going to do that now. We're going to cut the skin off, we're going to cut them in half, and then we'll get back to you guys about what we're putting on them. And yeah, we'll talk to you in a minute. This bread's done, but it says ain't nothing to it but to do it.
I'm gonna tell you right now. This freaking knife is under the truck.
All right, guys, let me talk about what kind of mixture we got here. So first of all, we end up having to cut this bigger one in 4 pieces. It is what it is, but we don't have containers big enough to seal it up in otherwise. But got half of this middling on the scale, and you can see we call it 5 pounds and 11 ounces. So what we've got here in this container is I mixed up way too much, but we'll always have it. But it's basically 2 parts salt, kosher salt, and 1 part sugar. So I went with 2 cups of salt and 1 cup of sugar, just because it was easier that way. It turns out that it weighed exactly 2 pounds. It really did. It was exactly 32 ounces. So then to that I added 3 ounces of this Prague powder #1 curing salt. You gotta be careful with this stuff. It tells you on the back. We use 1 teaspoon per 5 pounds of meat. And it says right there in that little warning box that too much or too little of this curing salt can adversely affect health, taste, and food quality. It is pink on purpose so you don't get it mixed up with regular salt and kill yourself to death. So there's literally enough of this here at a 2.5% cure to do like 88 pounds of meat.
Really? Wow.
So get my phone out here. Let me get my math doer out here because I'm not thinking too good today. So 5 times 16 is 80 ounces plus 11 ounces, 91 ounces times 2.5% equals, so we need 2.3 roughly ounces of cure for this particular piece of meat.
2.3.
Yep.
Where's that?
All right, so I got 2.3 ounces of the curing combination. Now for one piece, that's all. This is the first time we've done this, so for the first piece, that's all we're going to use. We're not going to get too crazy with it. Another piece of mine, I want to add black pepper to it just to have a little bit of pepper taste to it. And then we've got, that's probably all we'll video, maybe not, I don't know. But these other 4, we might experiment with them a little bit. It's up to Sarge, whatever we want to do. But you can do all kinds of different stuff. You can do wet brines, wet cures, dry cures. We're going with dry. So now I've got this in this pan, and the reason is because usually they recommend that you actually add the curing mixture to the meat while it's in the bag, but you can put it in to make sure you get it all in there. We don't have that option because our bags aren't big enough, so what we're going to do is rub it down on this tray, put it in the bag, and then we could collect whatever's left in this tray, pour it in the bag with it, mix it around, shake it around, make sure we get it all in there. Because like I said, it's a 2.5% calculation, so I'm assuming that it's important to get 2.5% on there. So I'm going to hang the camera back up here, and we will get to doing this part while you watch from a different angle.
A lot of it's gonna come off, so we'll see. It's back in bags. Actually doesn't sound like a whole lot. It probably ain't gonna go as far as you think it is.
Using vacuum seal bags just because we can make them a little bigger than a gallon Ziploc bag, but we're not going to actually vacuum it. We're just going to seal it up on both ends, because as this cures, it's going to draw moisture out of it, and you want to give it room to do that. And then plus, every other day, once we put it in the refrigerator, we'll probably flip it. We'll leave it in the refrigerator for 7 days, and then flip it every other day. Flip it at least twice within the 7 days, and that way when that juice settles out on the bottom, by flipping it over, you're giving the other side equal amount of time to kind of marinate in that cure and juice or whatnot. Now we got it sealed up on both sides, but you see it's still got room to breathe in there. One thing I failed to mention a while ago was people also, it's just personal preference, but some people will use brown sugar instead of white granulated sugar. We went with white sugar. I don't even really have a reason for you, but that's what we went with. It seems to be about a 50-50 opinion out there. But so we'll lay this in the refrigerator flat every other day, Flip it over. Let it in there for 7 days, and then we'll smoke it. And we'll show you that part too when we get to it. Right now we're going to do this other one. We're going to use the same calculation for the curing mixture, and then we're going to add some black pepper to it. I have no idea how much black pepper to add to it, but we're going to add some to it.
Just put it on there and see what you want.
Should we
See what it
use
looks like.
instead? That's got some chunky stuff in there.
It's two different kind of peppers. I
Oh,
put them in one bag.
I didn't overdo it, but it's just been on my mind for a while in general. But yeah, I had plenty.
Well, I'm with you. I need to at least cut back anyway. I don't know. You say when. When we get it to smoking.
All right, guys. So we got 6 packages.
Yep.
We got 2 of them with black pepper. We got 3 of them that are just regular, nothing but the cure mixture is all that's in it. And then just for the heck of it, we put some rosemary on one just to see if it gives a little extra flavor, a little good smell cooking. We just did one, so it couldn't hurt. So we're gonna put these in the refrigerator, like I said earlier, for 7 days. We'll flip them at least twice during that 7 days, but I'm gonna try to do it every other day. And then we'll pull them out, rinse them off, and put them in the smoker. Gonna be a few days. So, all right, guys. In the meantime, Sarge is vacuum sealing up some soup bones, ribs. I'd like this little inside tenderloin and a piece of this middling that fell off. I'm gonna put her on some indirect heat there and have little vittles while we're working this meat up. All right, folks, from this point forward in this video, we're going to do voiceover just because that's the way it worked out. Didn't feel like talking while I was doing this part, so I'm going to talk to you now. We actually let all these middlings stay for 8 days instead of 7 days, just due to the work schedule. Everything that I have read and watched seems to say that the longer the better anyway, obviously within reason. So at this point, I am taking these middlings out and I'm rinsing all the excess cure off of them. And I'm running a piece of coated wire, cutting a slit in each one, running a piece of coated wire, because I'm going to elect to hang these up in the garage, which stays in the low to mid 30s during this time of year. I want to do that instead of putting them in the refrigerator. That way they can hang freely and all this excess water can drip off, so the smoke will take like it should. So still rinsing here. So after I get them all rinsed off, here you see me hanging them up in the garage. Like I said, it's going to be in the mid 30s here all night. I'm going to let them hang all night, let them drip dry. I've got a tarp underneath them to catch all excess moisture. And like I said, I think this will be better in the long run because all the water can leave. I was going to use some metal coat hangers for this, but we didn't have any. I happened to have this coated wire laying around extra, so I used it. Pretty much whatever you want to use will work as long as you get it hung up and separated like you see here. Here it is the next morning. I've got I'm going to use these applewood pellets from Cabela's. I've got the smoker set at 200 degrees. I'm going to fill it up with pellets here. And we're going to smoke these melons to an internal temperature of 150 degrees. I come down to get the meat, and it's nice and dry, tacky to the touch, which is exactly what you want from what I understand when you want to smoke it. You see the hound dog is very interested, but he can't have any at this point. And now we'll take it up and get it put in the smoker. I only have room in my smoker to do 3 of these at a time, so it's going to take twice as long. That's okay. Like I said, I have the smoker set at 200 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm going to go to 150 internal temperature. I'm going to use the probe on the one to the left because that's the hottest part of my smoker, but I will periodically check all 3 pieces as they go. I eventually ended up adding a thermometer to each of the 3 pieces. This is not necessary as long as you keep up with all 3 individually. Here, the one on the left is done. I'm going to take it out. I'm going to move the other 2 over, and then I'll add a new piece to the right and just keep pulling them out as they get done and adding fresh ones. As they come off the smoker, I'll wrap them up in plastic wrap, put them back in the refrigerator overnight. This will allow the smoke flavor to set in, and will let the meat firm back up so that it's a lot easier to slice tomorrow morning. The next morning, I go down to the garage. You can see all 6 of them are in this refrigerator. I'm going to start pulling them out one by one and slicing them up to be vacuum sealed and frozen. Good job, Mom.
Thank you.
Thanks for the help, Mom. Which I guess it won't hurt you. So if you'll put just a little bit over each time, it should be about 12 bags exactly. Because there's 12 and a half pounds of it.
Well, I've been going like £1.6, you know.
Nine toes.
And who is that?
Jamie Hitchcock, the one Laura calls Nine Toes.
Oh. Okay, you ready?
Oh Lord. It's literally as good as bacon as I've ever ate. Mm. Mm-mm-mm.